I still remember the way my daughter handed me the note. It was so ordinary, so small, nothing out of the ordinary for a little girl like her. But the look in her eyes as she passed it to me. That's what stayed with me even after everything happened. She didn't say a word. She didn't have. I could see it in her face. Her innocence was gone in that moment. She was terrified. And so was I. "Mom," she whispered, her voice barely audible. "You have to read it now." I stared at the note in my hand, and for a split second, I thought I might have imagined it all. Maybe I was just tired. Maybe it was all a dream. But when I unfolded the small piece of paper, the words written in her handwriting hit me like a punch to the gut. "Run now." My heart stopped. My breath caught in my throat. I looked at her, her face pale, eyes wide with fear. "Sweetheart, what is this?" I asked, my voice trembling, but she didn't answer. She just stared at me, her hands shaking as she held onto her stuffed bunny like it was the only thing keeping her grounded. Before I could say anything else, I heard it. The unmistakable sound of footsteps outside the door. Heavy, purposeful steps. The sound of boots slamming against the hardwood floors in the hallway. My heart leapt into my throat. Whoa. Not again. Not this time. I didn't need to hear any more to know what was happening. The footsteps stopped right outside the door, and I could hear the muffled sound of voices. They were close. Too close. Quickly shoved the note into my pocket, my hands clammy, my pulse racing as I grabbed my daughter and pulled her close. "Get down," I whispered urgently, pushing her beneath the kitchen table. My hands were shaking as I looked around, searching for something, anything that could help me understand what was going on. The knock on the door came, loud and demanding. "Police. Open up," a voice barked from the other side. Froze. Every part of me screamed to run, to get my daughter out of there. But where would we go? How could I protect her when I didn't even know who these people were? I had no idea why. The police were at my door, but I knew one thing for sure. They weren't here for a friendly chat. The second knock came, followed by a shout. "We know you're in there. Open up." I swallowed hard. My mind was racing. The last time I'd had any kind of interaction with the law had been years ago, and it hadn't been anything good. But this was different. Something felt wrong. With trembling hands, I reached for the phone. My thumb hovered over the emergency number. But I didn't press it. What was I supposed to say? How was I supposed to explain this? I didn't have time to think. The door splintered suddenly with the sound of a loud crash. The door handle twisted, and in an instant it flew open. I couldn't see their faces, just silhouettes, moving fast like they had been expecting to find someone. "Don't move. Get down on the ground." The voice was sharp, authoritative. But I couldn't bring myself to comply. I had to protect my daughter. I had to protect her from whatever was happening. I scrambled to stand in front of her, my heart hammering in my chest as I took a deep breath, trying to stay calm, trying to do something. But before I could say anything, I heard the sound of more boots. There were more of them, filling the room, rushing in with no regard for anything or anyone. My head spun. There were at least 3 men in the room now. They weren't just policemen, they were armed, their faces masked, their eyes darting around the house, searching for something or someone. "Where is she?" one of them barked. "Where is she hiding?" I didn't know who they were talking about, but my mind raced with dread. Could they be looking for me? Was this some kind of mistake? Were they after me because of something I didn't even understand? "Where is she?" the man repeated, stepping closer to me. His gun was drawn and he was inches from my face. I couldn't stop myself from flinching back. But then my daughter, terrified, grabbed my hand from beneath the table. "Mom, run." I froze, my heart stopping as I looked at her, unable to believe what I had just heard. "What did you say?" I whispered, my voice barely audible. She pulled me down to her level, her voice urgent. We have to go. They're here for us. Run. Now. And then it hit me. The urgency in her voice. Panic. Terror. She knew more than I realized. I didn't know how she knew it, but somehow she did. Before I could respond, the man grabbed me by the arm, yanking me away from my daughter. Struggled trying to break free, but he was too strong. Let go of me. I shouted, fighting against his hold, but it was useless. His grip tightened. Get down. Now, he barked. I looked at my daughter, who was still hiding beneath the table, her eyes wide and filled with fear. She was clutching her bunny tightly to her chest, and I knew in that moment that I couldn't let this happen. I couldn't let them take me away from her. Please, I begged. Please let me go to her. But the man didn't respond. Instead, I was dragged away from the kitchen, my heart pounding in my chest, my mind racing with what to do next. I knew that whatever was happening wasn't just about me. It wasn't just about a routine police search. Something was going on, something dangerous, and I had no idea how to escape it. But as they dragged me through the house, I made a promise to myself. I wouldn't let them take my daughter. Not without a fight. The moment they dragged me into the living room, I felt the heavy weight of helplessness settle over me. I had always been the one in control, the one who made decisions, who protected those I loved. But now, as I was pushed down onto the cold floor, I realized how utterly powerless I was. I could hear my daughter's faint cries in the next room, but there was nothing I could do to reach her, nothing I could do to protect her from the nightmare that was unfolding right in front of us. One of the men who had been in the kitchen with me was standing over me now, his face obscured by a mask. He was tall, built like a soldier, and his eyes, dark and cold, had no sympathy in them. He seemed to study me for a moment, as if calculating something. I tried to push myself up, but his boot came down hard on my wrist, pinning me back down to the floor. A sharp pain shot through me, and I gasped. "Don't try anything stupid," the man said, his voice cold and detached. "We're not here to hurt. We're here to ask you some questions." I didn't believe him for a second. The tension in the air, the menacing way they had entered my home told me everything I needed to know. They were here for something, and they wouldn't stop until they got it. "I don't know what you want from me," I said, my voice shaky but defiant. "But whatever it is, you won't find it here." He crouched down in front of me, his eyes locking with mine, and I could feel the weight of his gaze bearing down on me. "We're not interested in your cooperation," he said, his words dripping with cold disdain. "We just need you to tell us where she is." "Who?" I gasped, my heart leaping in my chest. "Who are you looking for? What do you want from me?" He straightened up, standing over me as if my question was beneath him. "We know what you're involved in. And we know who your daughter is. Now tell us where she is." My stomach churned with fear, a cold sweat breaking out across my skin. My mind raced as I tried to process his words. How did they know about my daughter? What had I been involved in that I didn't even know about? I had no answers for him, no answers that made any sense. I knew one thing for sure. Whatever they wanted, I wasn't going to give it to them. "I don't know what you're talking about," I said, my voice barely more than a whisper. "My daughter has nothing to do with this." The man laughed, but it wasn't a friendly laugh. It was bitter, mocking. "You think you can hide this from us? You think you can protect her from this?" He stepped closer and I could feel the heat from his body pressing against mine. "You're already in this, whether you like it or not." I shook my head, struggling against his grip, trying to make sense of what was happening. Who were these people? What had they done to my family? What was going on? From the corner of the room, I heard the faintest sound, the creak of a door, the soft shuffle of a step. My heart skipped a beat as I realized that my daughter was trying to escape. She was hiding, trying to stay out of sight, but it wasn't going to be enough. I could feel the fear rising in my chest. "Let her go," I demanded, my voice cracking with desperation. "She's just a child. You have no right to hurt her." The man didn't flinch. Instead, he stepped back, motioning for someone else to step forward. Another figure moved out of the shadows, another man in a mask, his eyes cold and calculating. This one was taller, even more imposing, with a gun strapped to his hip. He walked over to me, standing just above me as I lay on the floor, my wrists still pinned beneath the first man's boot. "You're going to tell us everything, and you're going to do it now," he said, his voice low and threatening. "If you don't, we'll start with her. We'll make you watch." I could feel the blood drain from my face. I couldn't breathe. The room felt smaller, more suffocating, as their words sunk into my mind. I couldn't let them hurt my daughter. I couldn't let them take her. "Please," I begged, my voice raw. "Don't hurt her. Don't hurt her. I'll do whatever you want. Leave her out of this." The man with the gun smirked. "Good. I knew you'd come around." I had no idea what they wanted from me, but the terror in my chest made it clear that whatever they were planning, it wasn't something I could stop on my own. I had no choice but to comply, for my daughter's sake, for our safety. I could barely hold back the tears as I looked toward where she was hiding, her small form trembling behind the kitchen table. "Sweetheart, you stay there," I whispered. "Don't come out. Please stay hidden." I could see her little face peeking over the edge of the table, her eyes wide with fear, her tiny hands trembling. Broke my heart. She shouldn't have been part of any of this. I had promised to protect her, but now I didn't know how. The man with the gun turned away from me, heading for the doorway, and I felt a pang of dread in my chest. I didn't know what was coming next, but I knew it wasn't good. I tried to push myself up from the floor, but the pain in my wrist sent a shock of pain up my arm, making me wince. The first man stepped back and nodded to the other two. "Take her," he said, motioning toward the back of the house. My heart stopped. "No," I shouted, trying to get to my feet, trying to fight back. But they were too strong. I could feel the fear clawing at me, the desperate need to protect my daughter. But I was powerless against them. One of the men grabbed me by the shoulders, pulling me toward the hallway. He fought with everything I had, but it was no use. My strength was nothing against theirs. As they pulled me away, I heard the soft, terrified voice of my daughter calling out, "Mom! No!" The man with the gun stepped forward, raising his weapon. My breath caught in my throat and I froze. I had failed her. This wasn't supposed to happen. I wasn't supposed to let them take us. But it was too late. They were taking us now. "Please," I begged, struggling to get free. "Please don't hurt her. Don't hurt my daughter." The man looked at me coldly, his eyes devoid of empathy. "You're in no position to make demands." My heart shattered as I saw them lead me down the hallway. Every step I took felt like it was getting farther away from my daughter, farther away from the safety I had tried so hard to provide for her. But I wasn't going to give up. Couldn't. I would fight until my last breath to protect her. "Emily," the man with the gun said as he turned toward me, his voice lowering to a near whisper, "if you want her to survive this, you'll do exactly as we say. Otherwise, the consequences will be something you'll never be able to undo." The coldness in his voice, the threat in his eyes, sent a shiver down my spine. I had no idea what was coming, but I knew one thing for sure. I was going to have to fight. And I wasn't going to let them win.